Building better relationships is absolutely a priority for me. I think it's something that it's a gift we're given as we grow and mature to reprioritize things and to recognize the importance of just being a better partner or parent or son, daughter, whatever that looks like. But what seems to stand in the way, my biggest stumbling block, is humility. I'm Mike Dupre, and this is Rocket Talks.
3, 2, 1.
Rocket!
So when I say that humility is what stands in the way of my ability to have good, meaningful relationships, it's not just my pride in the obvious sense. It's not just that I'm selfish and that I'm self-consumed, which are all these things are true, but that's the obvious barrier when it comes to building relationships. Once a guy does a little growth, a little soul searching, is working with a mentor or a spiritual advisor or a life coach or whatever that looks like, and we evolve hopefully beyond just that childish selfishness. I think there's another more subtle form of ego that will block me from having meaningful relationships, and that is the idea of having to be the best. And what I mean by that is I want to be a good husband. I really do. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great father, and I want to be a great friend. But where that pride comes in is I get this sense that I need to be the best husband or the best father. And when I do that, I'm doing exactly what that does. And society tells us we need to be bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, and that really plays into that egoic idea that I need to be different and separate, that I need to be above. And those of us that don't always get to be above, where do we go? We go below. We're worse than. We're the worst father, right? We're the worst husband. And we beat ourselves up from that standpoint. But it's just so hard to be right-sized, just to be right-sized. And in my mind, humility has a lot of connotations, has a lot of meanings. I'm sure if you ask 20 people what humility was, you would get 20 definitions. I think it gets confused with humiliation far too often. I think it gets confused with self-deprecation far too often. And really what I think humility is just being right-sized. I can be a friend among friends. I don't have to be the best friend. I don't have to be the smartest friend, the richest friend, the most connected friend. I just get to be a friend among friends. And I think that's important, to be one among many. That keeps me right-sized. When I'm chasing this ideal of being the best husband, that's a goal that I'll never quite reach. I'll never quite measure up. And it's just going to hold me apart. It's going to hold me as separate. That connection is not there. And if I truly seek that connection for those better relationships, then that connection comes from equality, being on the same plane, being one among many, being a member within my family. I don't have to be the strongest or the smartest or the brightest. In fact, doing so, I run the risk of isolating myself from the people that I most desperately want to be connected with. So for me, better relationships, family, friends, strangers on the street, co-workers, guys that I life coach, whatever the dynamics of that relationship is, if I'm better than, I'm not really going to connect with them. And it's hard to connect with somebody that's better than you, isn't it? I mean, you ever know somebody that's just too cool to be friends with? It's a hard way to make friends. It's a hard way to keep friends. It's a hard way to get invites when people are going out and doing stuff. And so if I want to really make those relationships important and vital, I need to stay right-sized. So obviously I need to shake that childish form of selfishness where I can't share. And even once I grow beyond that, I also need to be mindful of other ways in which selfishness continues to pervade my relationships. So that's my opinion on what humility means. And I have relationships today that I think are wonderful. And those relationships are best when I'm right-sized. Thanks.